And that's why we'll say hello and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the live streaming where we're going to continue mixing this album for Banana Ranch. Hello, everybody. I've got something new since the last episode. This microphone that is bright red and sounds very different. This is the new Sontronics Podcast Pro, as it says right in front of me on top of the microphone. And they do one in black, which is a little more understated, and they do one in red, which is really red. So, yes, I'm using that. Hello again from Mixerland. So today we're going to finish off this mix. So we're going to do things like we're going to look at the backing vocals, bring all them in. We're going to make sure that everything kind of pops at the right point. Having had a bit of time away from the mix, I listened to it just now and decided like the low end on the bass is a bit thin. A typical mix decision. So we're going to go through all that after the new, improved, revised intro. There we go, yes. Also, feel free to drink along with the stream. Today I am drinking what looks like some sort of sports drink, but is very definitely not. This is 2 Swallows cherry rum from Rockstar with cherryade. So, cheers. Feel free to drink along with the stream responsibly and of legal drinking age, of course, and all that kind of stuff. Now, this mix sounds halfway decent, but let's dive straight in and listen to some of these noises and see what we have. Oh. Okay, so it looks like... Let's hold down Shift and up to make these look bigger. Right, so... There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these. And I'm just going to solo them all. Because it looks like I've hard panned some of them and not others. So what I might do with this is just do a nice big stereo spread. You can probably see on the pans I'm going left and right by varying amounts, just to make sure they're not all in the same exact pan place. Variation's a good thing, and we'll see now whether that was the right amount of spread, whether we need more, less, certain elements stick out. Oh, group. Let's make a group and call it R group. Oh, thank you very much, Andrea. That's very appreciated. Yes, somebody has finished looking at the course. And we will be going back and updating that at some point in the future as well. That's kind of as Reaper gets updated and new features come in, you'll see those. And you'll also see me playing with new features in Reaper as they come in. Because that apparently is what I do these days. So I've now got 8 vocals and they are grouped up. Now, the pitches of some of these are interesting. Let's see if auto-tune in EFX does the job. I don't like using auto-tune very often, but let's just look on. Let's just use... A little trick that I use in auto-tune is I use it on chromatic mode and just let it play and show me what the notes are. Right, so this song is in A minor. So what I want is C major because that's the relative major of A minor. And I find that programs tend to work better if you actually give them the relative major than if you try and tell them what minor it is, because they start getting confused. So I've now made that a little slower correction than it was by default. And I've now put that copied and pasted across all of the 8 tracks. That suddenly sounds a bit better. Now this is going to need a little bit of work, so I'm going to start by throwing Virtual Mix Rack on the group, and I'm not going to mix these individually. This is going to need some, well, it's going to need a lot of saturation. So the first thing I'm going to do is use New York, which is a nice saturating plugin, and I'm going to push a trimmer into it to make sure it's loud. You can hear that fuzzing slightly on the vocals now. They're a bit louder because we're starting to saturate them in that New York plugin. If I just solo the trimmer so it's clean, it does sound like there is some distortion on there already. So this is just kind of enhancing the top end and making it sit a little bit, which is going to be the next thing, is compression. So let's plop in FG stress and really kind of nail this. Because I really want this to sit in one place in the mix. So even when more layers come in, like they do here, that'll be a tonal shift, but it won't be a level shift. And if there is a level shift... Oh, no, that one didn't need auto-tune and was actually not part of this group, so that's fine. Hello, Mage Prometheus. Right, so that's a nice big fat group. I don't think we need any more low end on it than that. But now we add in the Neve, and I'm going to filter out everything. Let's start with 80 Hertz. Play. And we're going to add loads of top end. And I'm definitely going to get this group. Now that these are a group, I can just solo the group itself and not have to solo each individual track. And I've just hidden them all there. I'm going to send a load of this to the vocal plate. Probably too much, but let's try it in the mix now. And now we can start to fine tune. Anyone who gives you the advice, don't mix in solo, it's good advice. But for me, it's a 2-part method. Usually, I tend to get a track to sound roughly how I want it to sound. Then I unsolo and then make that fit in the mix. It's definitely a 2-part process for me. It's too much reverb. And that just isn't standing out. So I want to push the compressor a bit harder to really slam them. And it's that low, I can only hear that. So what I want to do is find that. There. Get rid of a load of that. And then I can just push the volume of the whole thing. There we go. That's something that I like to do quite a lot, is if there's an offending frequency in something, find it, turn it down, turn the whole thing up so that that volume compensates for the loss. That's way too loud now, but I can also hear some but what I can do is, because these are all going through a group, I can gate the entire group as a vocal group. And then in the middle is gone. Oh, there was a... Now, here's the thing. Now that I've done that and they sound great, the rest of the mix sounds a little bit weak to me. So I'm going to go back in the mix a little bit and turn it up.
My heart, so it seems. Days come and go, I've got nowhere to go when you leave. But I've got
the go-to on my go-tos on the Bricasti IRs. I just set half a day aside once and just played with them all. So for the small room, I do use Studio B Close. There are some snare ones in there. Pretty much all these patches in Slate's Verb Suite Classics are the bundle that you can find on that free download. Non-linear stuff is good on Snare, so like non-linear D. Non-linear reverbs are the ones that kind of go and kind of stop, and they're really cool for that kind of 80s pop kind of thing on Snare. Plates are always good on Snare. They're actually designated Snare plates. Okie dokie 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 dokie. Goodbye. They are pretty much the same as the ones you can load into Reverb. These are multi-samples. Apparently they sound a bit more realistic, a bit more adaptive. But the actual model that they model is identical. So, yeah. It's hard to say, but these kind of seem a little bit better, but only on a very esoteric level. So, yeah, it's hard to say. But yeah, I mean, all I can say is have a dig. And if you've got something like, if you're loading them into Reverb in Reaper, it doesn't take that long to flick through them. What you can do is you can load... Oh, actually, no, it depends on the folder structure. Yeah, okay. Because if you have all the WAV files in one folder rather than in subfolders, you can just kind of scroll your mouse wheel over the name of it and it will just change. So, yeah. Yes, let's carry on with this.
my heart, so it seems.
My sonar works on. Yes, it is. For some reason, that kick just doesn't feel very full today.
Just let me live. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe.
Gonna turn the guitars off for a second.
I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
Do I use a compressor on the reverb with the dry signal as a sidechain? No. Why would I do that? That sounds like something somebody came up with while they were high in the mid-2000s, and that for most people apart from like house producers is just not necessary.
I've got nowhere to go when you leave. But I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live. Let me live, let me...
Right, this song needs a beefier snare. I'm just not feeling it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send the snare over to a new track with trigger on it, and it's going to sound horrible at first because I've just put a kick sample on it, so that's never going to work. I mean, technically that does work, but only psychoacoustically. Yeah, no time is not easy to find. The best way to find time is to plan to do something else and then procrastinate. I've done so much over the past 15 years, and most of it has been not doing the thing I was supposed to be doing. So it's something that it's strategic procrastination. It's something that I've always been strangely good at. It's like, if you need me to tidy my room, I can suddenly read half an encyclopedia and learn all sorts of stuff. That room ain't getting tidied. As soon as I've got a final year essay for a degree, I have a really tidy room. You know, it's not, you know, I'm not a very idle person most of the time, but I can be quite bad at sticking to the task in hand. Sometimes. Let's get Audition on here and listen to. Oh God, no. Let's try and find just a nice big fat bassy of a snare. It's not going to be that one. That one, the slate snare. There we go. Because without that... There we go.
Go up to know where to go when you leave. But I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
There we go. That compared to what we had
On my
before.
knees. You pick me apart, leave a hole in my heart, so it seems. Days come and go, I've got nowhere to go when you leave.
Go. Yeah, I mean, it's quite common for me, if there's a song where there's a really, really high-tuned snare and it doesn't seem to fit the song, I will add in a low thumpy kind of snare underneath as a trigger to reinforce it. Similarly, the other way round, if there's a nice fast song but there's a low snare and it's not cutting, I will add more like a high-tuned crack snare. And that complement suddenly makes that feel like it's nice and fat. So the bass now, let's look at that. Because it's a fairly solid sound. Is that... Yeah, 30 hertz filter's not doing anyone any harm. But let's look at this mix rack and get big. So I'm going to add in the CS lift with a big, which is like a parallel EQ almost. Oh yeah. Let's see how that works with the drum kit.
Days come and go, I've got nowhere to go when you leave.
And without?
But I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe.
I can probably have a little bit of attitude back now. There's no EQ control around the 1K. We're calling Dr. Neve, calling Dr. Neve. Because what I want is I don't want to bring out the clicky, clicky, click. But quite often, bass has a character around 1K or so that can really fit it in a rock mix. I mean, that compared to that, which is a little bit bland. It's not bad, but it's a bit bland compared to that. Let's try that in the mix.
But I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe.
There we go. Now let's bring him his rhythm guitars again.
The faster I run, the harder I fall on my knees.
Bass is a little loud overall now, but just bring that down.
Apart, leave a hole in my heart, so it seems. Days come and go, I've got nowhere to go when you leave. But I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe.
A bit more high end on the vocal, not much.
I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
Yeah, so all these ahs are a little bit late, I believe. Early even. There we go. That's the way that I wanted to push them that way. And ooh. It's one of my friend's birthdays this week, and we're all sending him birthday cards with really stupid versions of his name on. It's glorious. Just the most subtle thing to annoy somebody is just spell their name wrong, just slightly. But we're all doing it. So, anyway.
To appease the thoughts in my head that are wrestling me dead with unease. I know what to
Right, this backing group needs more character. And a bit less super low end. And a faster release. So it's just nailed down. There we go. I'm not sure if you'll be seeing me mixing Oreo and Cubasis anytime soon because it is difficult. And honestly, it slows me down. I've done it before, but I don't even own Cubasis 3 at this point. I've got Cubasis 2. And it's something I'll probably revisit in the future, but right now, it's not on the cards. So, sorry to disappoint, but yeah, no. I'm going to use micro shift on these to give them a huge thing. There we go. And a bit less low end there on the vocal as well, because it's got plenty of low end.
when I'm left alone. When I'm left alone, I just play on the phone to appease.
Right, so
The faster I run, the harder I fall on my knees.
I like the volume of this rhythm guitar in the verses, but it seems a bit quiet in other places.
The faster,
The fast, and the furious. Right, so I'm going to bring this up by 2 dB in the intro and see what that does.
the faster I run, the harder I fall on my knees.
There we go, yeah, so it's
You pick me apart, leave a
push it again here.
Just let me live, let me live.
Yeah, because it sounds a bit hollow at the moment. And we'll leave it up until...
The thoughts in my head.
So that's where the next verse starts. We'll push it up by the same 2 dB and see what that does. 2,
Just
3.
let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
And oh, that's going to want to come back down a little bit for this next section because it's not competing, it's not the chorus. It wants to be loud but not super loud.
When I'm left alone, I just play on the phone to appear. When I'm left
That's where that should have gone down. I actually did that 2 lines too late. Melon. There we go.
Let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
Let's give that quite a bit less reverb, that lead there. And really radio effect it lower down. See if that sits it nicely in the mix because it sounds a bit lonely at the moment.
Let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. When I'm left alone, I just play on the phone to appease the thoughts in my head that are wrestling me dead with unease. I know what to do when I show you, you'll believe. 'Cause I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Said I've got a
Cool. I'm just going to go back to that bass because I think when I recorded it, honestly, I overdid that zingy thing a bit. Might be easier to find, that re-cue and just put a shelf on a high cut, but just a soft 6 dB one. Yeah, there we go. Just softly taking the top off that.
ease. The thoughts in my head that are wrestling me dead with unease. I know what to do when I show you, you'll believe. 'Cause I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Said I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. Live, live.
Yeah, and that's where the chorus happens, so that's where we're going to push the whole guitar there up by 3 decibels, which is about 30% rise, roughly speaking, in percent.
Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my...
I think I'll take these bass parts. They're nice, but I'll bring them down a bit.
Let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my...
Yeah, I definitely need the boost there.
Just let me live, live, live.
Right, well, this is where it's going to get a bit crazy for guitars then, by the sound of it.
Live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe.
So what are these R's then, these 5? These are exactly the same, style-wise, as the ones above. So I'm going to move them, all of them. And usually I do preach about cleaning up your edits and that kind of stuff. But these are so definitely on then off that I can use a gate to nice and cleanly just stop them. Excuse me. There we go. Apologies. Lovely. That the timing on them's a little late actually, but it does also mean I can get rid of several empty tracks now. This is significantly louder than the previous set, so I'm probably going to need to automate the volume of these down. Yeah, that needs the edits cleaning because it's going.
Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan.
Oh, I really did go for it on that bass part, didn't I?
Breathe.
Ooh, so they're going to be a group called Breathe. Breathe. Love it. Go on, Ricky. But let's pan these 30-ish% out to the side so that we get some panning, but we also get some crossover, so we get a little bit of that dissonance and beat between the slightly off. Actually, it psychoacoustically can make them sound bigger than if you just hard pan stuff. If you hard pan everything, it doesn't actually sound more stereo, believe it or not. So let's put this in the small room. Oh, no, that one in the small room. That needs compression, stat. The monster. The monster will do it.
Let me live, let me breathe. Let me live, let me breathe. Let me live, let me breathe.
Lovely. And the EQ is really kind of stuffy and woolly, so let's find that low end.
Let me live, let me breathe.
Push the high
Let
end.
me live, let me breathe. Let me live, let me breathe. Let me live, let me breathe.
Probably.
Let me live, let me breathe. Let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan. Let me live, let me breathe.
smother that in delay.
Let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm
And lots of
let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my just let me live, let me live. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding under my sleeve. I've got a plan. Let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it.
Right, so I'm going to put a slight taper on an automation here, because as this song drops down, I mean, there's a lot going on here, and I might have to do a little bit more EQ carving to make it all work. But I do want it to actually feel quite full and overwhelming and big at this point. But this slight taper on that guitar bus means that as he starts singing on the end section, as the big crashes come in, it shouldn't be quite as overwhelming.
I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
There we go. It still feels loud, but taking a couple of dB off after that bow first hit, after that hit, it fades a bit naturally. So I've kind of gone with that on the automation, so that on the next hit, it hits a little bit less than it did the last time, without you noticing that volume fade. Whereas the more aggressive volume fades there have been definitely to do with section change. Let's try from the start, see what comes up. Turn the headphones down a little so that I'm not being blasted in the ears. The levels are still too damn high. What guitar? There's no amp modeling. I don't know what the guitars are. Good start. The previous stream, we did all the reamping. So if you want to go back and watch part 4, then you'll see a lot of this, because I did film a lot of it. But just as a quick breakdown, the heavier guitars are a Mesa V-Twin preamp and 50/50 power amp, running into a Torpedo Captor and Torpedo Cab M from 2 notes with my 4x12 traditional Zilla with vintage 30s. So we've got that kind of sound. Very fuzzy. A lot of the cleaner guitars, all this kind of stuff, was recorded with my Marshall JCM 800 through the same setup. So yeah, no amp models today.
under, harder, I fall on my knees. You pick me apart, leave a hole in my heart, so it seems. Days come and go, I've got nowhere to go when you leave. But I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. When I'm left alone, I just play on the phone to appease the thoughts in my head that are wrestling me dead with unease. I know what to do when I show you, you'll believe. 'Cause I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Said I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. Just let me live, let me live, let me live, let me breathe. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve. I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
Getting some dip, 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 dip as the CPU starts to panic, but that's partly because that's open. That's goodbye. Don't need Discord open either. How good are de-reverb and decompress plugins? Short answer, not very good. Decompressing plugins can be better because compression is generally a volume thing, and if you've got some clever deep learning stuff like Isotopes RX stuff is very good at that. You can bring some element back of dynamics, but it's a real crapshoot because how's the process supposed to know exactly how it was supposed to be in the first place? De-reverbs I generally do find to be not great because how does the process determine what is reverb and what isn't? And I've tried it a lot, and you can get rid of some reverb off some things, but a lot of it's just kind of a sophisticated gate, and I can still hear a hollowness and an echo on de-reverbed tracks. And I've done de-reverbing for film work before. I did that for a particular full-length film where a lot of the scenes were shot in a car, and the car vocal audio was terrible because cars are awful places to film. The sound sounds like just comb filtering all the time, and it's reverb, but it's not a long tail reverb, but it just sounds awful. There's not a lot you can do. And yeah, decompressing is very subjective. That's the other thing. Like, quite often a lot of hi-fi enthusiasts have things like DBX back in the 70s made a system where vinyl had like really, really high compression on the vinyl, but then you ran the vinyl through this unit and it decompressed it equally so that it sounded really nice and dynamic, but also the noise floor was gone because the noise floor on vinyl's not great, but if you expand it 2-to-1 ratio, suddenly it's like way down. And yeah, DBX managed to make a system that worked doing that. But that doesn't mean that that's going to work for every source and every setup, It's one of those things that if you get it right, you can get it right. But if you can't get it right, you can try for days. And all depends on the source. It's... Yeah. I've had D-Reverb plugins for the past 10 or 15 years, and newer ones are better. Sometimes you can be quite surprised, but sometimes they're just a bit crap. Now, the last thing that I did to this mix there is I decided that the vocals were a bit far back, so instead of just turning them up, I got the nice Neve 1.6K and just turned that up by a couple of dB. And that just gives vocals a slight, subtle mid-push that sits them above a mix, especially lead vocals. And then they were too loud, so I turned them down by nearly a whole dB. But
you pick me apart, leave a hole in my heart, so it seems.
If I turn that off,
Days come and go, I've got nowhere to go when you leave.
the vocals slightly buried in the mix, and now
But I've got a plan and I'm hiding it under my sleeve.
right, there we go. So that 48 minutes is that, I think, for now. What I'm going to do, as I've done with the other songs, is I'm going to save this and send it to Ricky and Banana Ranch and get their feedback, because they might say, oh, I want more of this guitar here, I want less of this guitar. Can we have less of the vocal, etc., etc.? You get your artistic feedback at this point, and don't kill yourself over details. At mix one stage, if you're working with an artist, that is something I've learned over the years, definitely. I've put a grand total of 4 hours into this mix. And I could put another 4 hours into trying to make this perfect. Or I could not do that, because then when I get the initial feedback from the client, they'll probably say, oh, I don't like this, can you change this, I like that. And so if you do all those changes, then spend the time doing the small tweaks. You don't need to do it twice, because small tweaks, quite often, if the client wants something completely different, all that work is wasted. So, yeah, bring your mix together. Say to your clients and be very specific and say, this is mix one. Anything you don't like will change. That's set the expectations for the client. I mean, make sure it's a good mix. Make sure you're happy enough with it. But like, I could go in now and I could automate every word of that vocal. And if he says, oh yeah, I don't like the compression on it, can we just like compress it more or less? That invalidates my entire like volume per syllable automation thing. You know, like if you're somebody like Spike Stent and you're working on a mix for someone like Muse, you've probably had them in the room half the time while you've been mixing, so you already are going in the right direction. And then he's the kind of person who will automate like every word and every syllable up and down. He's a bit mental, but at that point you can then put that energy in. So yeah, that is that. So now I'm going to close that down. I'm going to render that later, and now I'm going to work on something a little different, which some of you may have seen. Oh, thank you very much, James Riley. That is very much appreciated. Now I'm going to mix something a little different, and something I've been meaning to get finished for quite a while. Let's see when this was most recently mixed. Because somewhere I've got a version of a song that I started recording at NAMM that is now ready to be mixed, which is very different and is going to be going out on the channel at some point, and features a lot of plugins from Arturia, which I'm excited to be working with. So let's get all this loaded up. Come on, there we go. Oh boy. Everything's in 44K. Okay, I'm going to change all the sample rates. Expect the voice to drop out for a minute because it's going to reset all the hardware and everything. So don't worry, don't panic. You don't have to say like, oh, your sound's gone. We're going to know about that in advance. So fear not. I'll see you guys in a few seconds. Where are ye? There we go. So you'll be able to hear me now. I'm going to keep changing some of these because if I don't, and this is one of the really weird things about the Arturia, every interface has its quirks, but particularly the Arturia, I've found if I don't change enough parts to 44.1K, then it randomly decides to go back. Really annoying. But yeah, bear with me. Windows audio can be fine, or it can be a massive pain in the whatchamacallits. Seems I've now appeased the audio gods enough that you should be able to hear me again. Yeah, no, I wish I could write a PowerShell script for that, but unfortunately, because of the way that the Arturia interface works, when you change sample rates, all the Windows audio little things that you saw there, they all gradually disappear. Then over the next 30 seconds, they all gradually appear again as different devices, and it's quite infuriating. But yeah, this is a track that began life at NAMM on the Wednesday evening. because NAMM starts on the Thursday, so we got there Wednesday night, and I'd said all the way there, I'm gonna write a song for NAMM. I'm gonna do recording on the show floor, and it's gonna be amazing. And so what happened was, the night before on the Thursday, I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna do this. I was already quite jet lagged and sleep deprived, and did it anyway. And it was a lot of fun. Can everybody hear me now, by the way? Hope so. But yeah, I wrote the drum part, the original drum part, and I wrote a bass synth and what I called top line scratch, which was literally that. And I wrote some parts, basically. So I wrote that because all I had was the laptop, didn't even have a mouse. I literally had an old IBM, a Lenovo ThinkPad, and some in-ear monitors. And one of the guys with Charlie was already in bed, and Liam was kind of half in bed. And there's me at 1 a.m. US time after like a 24-hour travel, programming this out. But as luck would have it, turn the top line off, I got to the 2 Notes booth after going to Audient to borrow an interface, and they had a bass hanging on the wall, and they had a La bass and stuff, and that sounded like this. Sounded amazing. I still need to ask them what that bass was, because I want to get one. And there's video of me. I got that tone with a La bass and a Cab M on the show floor using in-ear monitors on the Thursday morning at NAMM. And then we went to the Rev booth, and Sam from Rev, what a guy he was. I said to him, like, because I had the top line that was that horrible buzz. And so without the top line, let's just turn off the synths for a minute. No, let's play the synths. This is Sam from Intervals, and he plays for Rev. So in 25 minutes, Sam learned the entire song, tracked it, double-tracked, with an Aristides guitar and through the Rev G20. Just the G20, that's all that is. Just the Rev G20. And it sounds, to me, absolutely jaw-dropping. And in the end, this is what we ended up with, but I need to pull a mix together now. Oh. Shut up. Shut up. No, I said shut up. So, MIDI panic, shut up. That synth is a Roland Jupiter 8. It's very, very late 70s, early 80s. Some like scary sci-fi film. So that's the Roland Jupiter 8. I also, that lead line, I was thinking of turning into a vocal. Obviously not going to do that right now. But that's a really nice sound from, is that a Mini Moog? Yeah. But then on the choruses, I like to make my choruses epic, and I'm a sucker for a mellotron. So the mellotron, hello, come on mellotron, sounds like this. I do love a good mellotron. And under that, there's also a string synth from an ARP Selena, which I dearly love the ARP Selena. That classic mid-late 70s string ensemble. So vintage, but you add that together with the mellotron. But you throw that in with like drum and bass beat. Yeah, that guitar tone is just so good. And then later on, what I'm going to do for the video, because I'm going to make this into a video, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I mean, it's been cooking since January. It's due. There are two guest solos. One from Jeremy... Oh, come on, brain. Not Jeremy Lumsden, the other Jeremy. Jeremy Krull, that's one of the demo guys for Two Notes. And this was just done on a Marshall Plexi. Again, using the prototype Captor X on the show floor. And then we've got a solo which I need to do some effecting on, because that's just dry, from Jeremy Vareo from Donkeys and Demos, who was there. So now I've got to somehow do justice to those. Now I've just noticed that Jeremy's solo that just stops there. One thing that you can do in Reaper, and I'm just going to crossfade these a little, is I was going to say Alan Bennett. Oh, hello, I'm Alan Bennett. He didn't really do that kind of music, but yeah, I got what you mean. One thing you can do in Reaper is this note doesn't go on for long enough. If I hold down the Alt key, I can magically make it longer. Let's just hear how this sounds. No, we much preferred the second take. Now, that was a little bit noodly there. What I'm going to do is try this section. actually really like that, so I'm going to stick that in there somewhere. Because that was kind of the original plan, if I remember rightly. Stretching is much better in Melodyne if you can, but you can really get away with small amounts. There we go. I might have to be a bit... cheeky with the camera edit there. Because we did 2 takes and basically said keep the first one, but that bit from the first one. Jeremy usually uses a lot more gain than this. This was a Marshall Plexi. Just no pedals, just a Plexi. That's the point. There's tons of uber high information. So this solo from Jeremy Vareo is dry as a bone right now. So that needs delay. That needs some... I'll go with the snare verb for now. That's already a ton better. And I'm going to add micro shift because that's another Jeremy thing. And then I'm gonna add re-EQ because a lot of what I wanted to do with this was show off our Arturia's plugins. Oops, nope, nope. Up you go. There we go. Just get some high and low cuts on there. Hello, Marty. Right, so now we've got micro shift, but we've got the low and high end crap cut out. A bit of a low mid scoop. Let's see how this sounds in the mix. Higher up, deeper, low mid scoop on the Vareo one. go, Satriani. I love it. And I'm just going to automate it down a little after after we go back to the main section. Oh yeah, it's the Eddie Van Halen tremolo, and then straight into what's basically from Surfing with the Alien by Satriani. There we go. Sorry, I'm just turning the mix down for everybody. Fear not. Maybe turn your headphones up, but I just realised that we were going through ozone and clipping, and I don't want any of that for now. Even though it's not doing much, that was just to get a version of a file out for doing some video. And so, yeah, when it comes to the video, I think I'm going to go from the intro through the verse, chorus, then get rid of... Yeah, I'm going to cut it... What have I got on here? So far, D and B trigger. Oh, I've literally just got a clap. Yeah, because that makes it more drum and bass. Idiot. So what I really need is a drum and bass kick and a drum and bass snare. Now, I used to have a load of samples from Hospital Records, and so I need to go fishing for samples that have the proper... let's just have a look at what drums are we using. So we are using Slate drums. I believe I was using Slate drums 5 at the time. Yeah, we're on 5.5 now. Let's have a look in here, because there are electronic stuff in here. Why have I not been using these? So definitely using that, and I'm gonna stack up a few. Clappy classic. And snap. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back up the mixer, and I'm going to send those all out to the relevant places. So where's ambient file going? 15, 16. So I want the kick to be 17 and 18. And I want the snare to be 19, 20. Not the year 1920. Roaring Twenton tidal waving. And now I can go back into slate drums and go edit output. So what was it? 1718. Should be output 9, I think. Yep. Okay, so that's coming out of there. Loud. Yeah. And I'm going to have all three of these coming out of, what was it, output 10. Output 10, output 10. And now, got, yeah. I am going to compress the snare really hard. The kick's probably just there. The kick's done. I might EQ a bit more, click a bit more, that kind of thing out of it. But I'm going to really distort the snare. And see where that gets me. I think I will have a little bit of... I'll use... earth for the first time in forever on this kick. And a bit of air, actually. Air and earth. Without air and earth, sounds good. With beast. I'm going to change the attitude of this bass because it's nice. There we go. By giving it a rounder low end and some more mids. Yeah, that's about right. Compression as well. Cool. Unusually, and this is a genre thing, I'm really going to crank this hi-hat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with trimmer. Then I'm going to really distort it with New York. But then, and this is the thing that's the drum and bass element, is I'm going to scoop all the low end out. And really make it that defined tick, tick, tick. Probably turn it down a bit now, but... that compared to almost nothing, that's much more drum and bassy. Yeah. Is there any way to use drum samples using plugins that are already available in Reaper? Yes. I'll just drop one on a. There's a program called a plugin in Reaper called Samplomatic 5000. You open that, and if you want to add a noted sample, you can change it there. But as a drum sample, you can just drop one in. You hit browse, you drop one in. You can change loads of different parameters here. It's like an old Akai vintage synthesizer. You can do loads of clever stuff in it, and it's incredibly low CPU usage. But because I already had all these samples in Stephen Slate drums, I've kept them. Right, let's have a look and see if there's a clever, quick way of turning down the open hi-hats. Because if I can do that, that'll mean I can really keep the pulse. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's definitely cheating, but in drum and bass, I can really feel like I can bend the rules, because the closed hi-hat, I definitely want a defined tick, 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 tick to drive the song. Yes, you can trigger Samplomatic 5000 with a live drum recording. You use Reaper's gate, regate, and you open that up, and you turn your entire wet signal all the way off, and when you've got your gate working right, there's a little button at the bottom that's Send MIDI on Open Close Gate. Generally for a kick, it's 38 is the MIDI note you'd use. 36, 38 is a snare. There are a few others for toms. Just look at general MIDI for the right note mappings. And then you literally just have that enabled on whatever note you choose. And then you put Samplomatic 5000 straight after that on the same track. And with zero latency, as long as you don't mess with the pre-open, that adds latency, so don't do that live. That will, as low as your latency can go on your interface, replace whatever you give it with the sample. Done. So yeah, entirely doable. Let's just make those toms thunder, because they currently aren't thundering. Let's use the API one, why not? Oh, hi! Oh, listen to that rumble out that Jupiter. Let's bring the that rhythm guitar up a bit and just true iron. That's what'll fatten this bad boy up. Yeah, so the bass tone now is a combination of the bass that I played on the day, which was that really driven, which I decided for drum and bass didn't have enough clean low end, so I added a Jupiter 8, which isn't very loud, but you can see it goes right the way down, and it's got some real super low stuff. Might just give it its earth back. Just gonna add a bit of grit to that. There we go. So yeah, I've heard people say, oh, 2 bass lines before, but yeah, if they're not interfering with each other in different frequency spectrums, that's not a problem. It doesn't cause anything like chorusing as long as it's done right. Sweet Jesus. I'm just going to see in slate drums, I'd be very happy if the electro stuff has a shuffle in there somewhere. Nah. Nah, it's all cool stuff, but none of it's got that shuffle. Chugga chugga. Ooh. Tom Boom. Nah, never mind. Nah. Nah, it's not worth the bother. Right, so there we go. Don't need a video processor on the lead line. Yeah, so this is getting somewhere now. Let's move on to the solo and make sure they still fit. They do not. Right, here's where I use an old trick. The distressor's really good for this. Use a bit of compression on the lead guitar, but there's a button, 2 buttons, which listen for particularly harsh frequencies and pull it down more, so you can actually have some quite nice compression. that in some Jeremy's one as well. That's my favourite bit of the song there, and Sam came up with that in one go. Does that remove harsh tones better than Soothe or Gullfoss? No, it doesn't actually remove the harsh tones. That's not what that does in FG Stress. What that does is that affects the side chain of the compressor. So all that's happening there is if there's something that's more bright and strident, that just gets pulled down in level more. That's all. The overall tone is kept. It's not like Soothe or Gullfoss where they do clever things. It's much more just... It changes the way that the compressor behaves. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, Sam came up with that guitar bit at the end, which I really like. The... Live on the show floor, he literally just came up with that in like 30 seconds. I'll never be able to do that. Some people are just good. So, yeah, let's listen through this now. If anyone's got any suggestions, now is a very good time. Yeah, I know, some people are just that good. That's why he ended up as one of the demo guys for Rev Amps. Right, that Mellotron needs to be way wider. I need to do some sort of clever trickery. And then push it, probably with a preamp like London. But I'm going to push into that with the trimmer. I do like Mellotrons, but if it's just stuck in the middle, it's not a feature. Yeah. And then I actually really like the bass growl on that roll off. That grrr. Just I need to ask you on what the hell that bass was, because that had some guts. I really like the sound of it. And yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to this song and changing and adding and changing. I don't know if I want to add a vocal line to this, because I mean, it would just be really cheesy. Like, NAMM was so cool. This guy he tracked with the G20. It's just like Henning could get away with that. I would just be crimson with shame. I mean, I can do it there for a laugh, but oh no, I couldn't put an artistic work out into the world with that. But yeah, I mean, that's probably enough for me to get editing the video to, which is something that I'm gonna actually, yeah, I'll do that in a minute. I'm gonna render this out, and what? Let's call it test mix 2, and I am going to go to the men's room. So we're going to have a quick break for a couple of minutes while that goes. So I suggest that everybody else do something similar. And we'll be right back after these messages. I return. And the first thing I'm going to do is save this and make a snapshot. And this is an SWS thing, so this is going to be called long version. Because what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to make a new version of this with it completely cut down. So, the chords in the let's see. I don't remember what song it is in the break. I think it's "Swim" by Piston Funk Machine, who eventually became Banana Ranch. So it would be F sharp, E, B. It's a fairly standard cadence, going from the root down to the 7th, down to the 4th. But yeah, what I'm going to do is just select that second intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, and just get rid using my little shortcut of Alt and Z. And I can now bring... The only thing that I've definitely have lost there is the start of Jeremy's solo, which I'll just bring back. Turn the hi-hat down a bit. There we go. So should probably put a region around this and make this into a new snapshot called short version. Because the long version, I would like to come back to this and make it either a track in its own right or make it into blah 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 blah. A song for kind of the next EP. So I can add things to it at that point, like my own guitar solo or stuff like that in the other parts. Make it a very melodic, lyrical part. Because I don't consider myself to be an amazing guitar player, really, but I can do melodic, lyrical stuff on guitar. That seems to be a thing that I do. I think with being a singer, I just gravitate towards that. I think I can hear Ivy going, yeah, it's way past her bedtime. But yeah, let's just get this rendered out. And I'm going to use FGX by Slate at this point, because I know that this is really good at just making things sound bigger and thumpier and louder. So this is going to get a bit loud. So I'm just going to render this out as NAMM Song 2020 short version. And I'm probably not going to get the entire video done tonight, because I'm only going to be streaming for maybe the next, well, not very long really, because I have had a very long week and I need to curl up in a ball and just kind of keep drinking my rum for a while. For anyone who tuned in late, I am actually drinking cherry rum with cherry aid out of this bottle. It's a proper like redneck way of doing it, but meh. I actually really like that bottle, so whatever works. Also, for anyone who didn't notice or didn't know, see if this works. Yeah, new microphone, the Sontronics Podcast Pro. I really like it because it's big and red and is not a fire engine. So, yeah, I'm going to save that now and just move over here a second just to make sure there's no sensitive information on my desktop while we move over to editing some video. Because I already do have a a very big project for all the NAMM footage because I made many videos, and this will be the last NAMM video, thank God. Until the next NAMM, because I'm almost definitely going to NAMM 2021 if it's happening, which I would imagine it would. I mean, it's far enough in the future. But it's going to be a bit of a change from everybody staying 2 meters away from each other to 110,000 people all being in the same building. It's going to be a stark contrast. Now let's open. Where's my NAMM footage gone? It's on here somewhere. There she blows. There we go. I'm going to change the text from mixing to Banana Ranch to editing NAMM D&B song. Oh no, it's having to locationing meetings. It's never good. Oh, it's never good. So yeah, I've just kind of made a shorter version of the song so that people don't get bored watching it as a video, because it's going to be a fun video because it's basically going to be a lot of the stuff that happened at NAMM crammed in. And it's going to ask me for some missing footage, isn't it? Because it always does. Come on. No. Huh. It is having a bit of a fit right now, though, trying to... Oh, there we go. Old NAMM footage. For anyone who wanted to see this, it was there. Oh, don't care about fonts. Sod off. That's me with a coffee at like 3 a.m. English time. Blatantly not 3 a.m. right there. So my eyes say, oh good God, what is this? This coffee is not helping me. Save me now. I'm going to die. And the rest of my body says, NAMM, 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 NAMM. Oh, I was like an excited child. But because of time differences, yeah, look at those eyes. I mean, I look kind of like that now because that's my face. But let's make this into a whole different project. Right click, reveal sequencing project. There we go. I can duplicate this, call this NAMM song, because I've got plenty of footage. Close other panels in group. Plenty of other footage that I can do. So let's see what we got on here. Lots and lots of stuff we don't need. Right, so I probably actually want to start again. Let's just grab a piece of footage because we don't need any audio for this. Let's just grab a piece of footage from... Oh, that's just about the right time, actually. Wrong camera, though. That's just my GoPro. That's all from day one. That's when I absolutely panicked trying to talk to Josh Scott. Gonna approach him next year and be like, "Hi, that's Liam. Hi, do you remember me freaking out in front of you?" Oh, that's coming through voice meter. Fantastic. That's one of the guys from Austrian Audio who make fantastic mics, by the way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new sequence from clip. That way, I can just mute that channel that's going to have stuff on it, and I can add in our song. Import from D, NAMM song. Hear the song of my people. Ah. And now to find out where I've been rendering these things to. Okay, Dropbox. Oh, I actually downloaded a whole drum and bass drum kit with the intention of using it, and never did. NAMM song. I mean, the song was going to be called Namthrax, but with everything that's gone on with COVID, I think I'm going to change that name. Right, so there we go. Let's turn my headphones down for a start and go to the audio track mixer and just turn this down a little as well. There we go. And I know that that's still significantly louder than me. So for now, I'm just going to turn that volume way down. There we go. And now to troll through all the footage. So that was the NAMM adventure. Was that the first time I went to the NAMM, to the Rev? That's the kind of footage that's going to be relevant, because there's going to be a lot of stuff from. There we go. There's going to be a lot of me not finishing my sentences for a little while I'm trying to think about getting through this. If any of you have seen the NAMM vlog. Oh, there we go. Here we are. So that was the bass that gave me that incredibly crunchy tone. But seriously, that was the cheapest laptop that you can get that'll kind of run. It's an old Lenovo ThinkPad. It's a T420. I'm wearing my Sennheiser in-ears, and I'm just tracking using that into the audio interface, and that's it. In hindsight, that was ridiculous that I managed to do that. NAMMquest. I might call it NAMMquest, actually. It's a pretty funky name, now that I think about it. But yeah, I'm going to need to find the footage of Sam playing rhythm guitar. And yeah, I did use the Evo 4, so that's going to get a definite spot. Oh, that's K-Mac, by the way. K-Mac just randomly filming me and Liam, and I was like, who are you? You're kind of weird filming me. And then afterwards I was like, oh god, that's K-Mac. Right, okay, that was K-Mac. Never mind. Okay, bye. I mean, you can tell he's a real vlogger because he's got a phone with sound on top of a proper camera. That's just craziness. Oh yeah, so he was using the phone as like meters and stuff, because he's nuts. Looks like we're going to be doing a video with DistroKid this week. Right, okay. Sweet. Oh, I do like DistroKid. I released my music to him. There's Sam. Syncing this is going to be really, really difficult. There's Jeremy's solo, and I might just try and find roughly where that goes now. I'll just expand that out, because of course what? Did I just get that in time? That's in. I mean, it's a couple of frames out maybe, but No, it just looks like it's in, but it's not. Back that way. There's a lot of tedium involved in video editing. Right. Right, I think this is take 2. Well, that should make syncing a little easier. That's most of the solo. I'm just going to do this by eye. It's impossible to get room reverb on the background vocals. Sound like the choir's moving their heads. What? Wrong way. There, and there we go. So there's a bit there where I'll have to kind of edit something a little clever in. Because that's a bit of a clever edit, but yeah, that's most of the solo. That's kind of funny, actually, watching live videos on catch up. It catches me out sometimes. I may have put a bit too much rum in there. But yeah, that, and I need to find Mr. Jeremy Varreo's video, which he sent to me. Just make sure I find... There it is. Just drop jar in right there. There we go. Now this is classic Jeremy. He did his in one go. Right, so he's going brown. So need to sync this up a little sooner, I think. Couple frames more. There we go. So Jeremy's guest solo he added in later, but he is using 2-note stuff. I'm going to do a couple of cool little things. So I'm kind of, even though this video's nowhere near done, I'm going to do a little bit of an edit at this point. So I'm going to move Mr. Jeremy over here, and at the same time, that's by adding some points there. That's automated it. I'm also going to add a crop, and I'm going to do a crop, and I'm going to automate that to there. No, to slightly before that. No, slightly. I can't start cropping. There, and I'm going to put another point in there, and then just kind of wipe it out. There we go. Ha ha ha, wipe out. There we go. Because by doing that naturally, that should kind of... Yeah, there we go. Because I can then make the camera move a little for the first shot of Jer. That's the first frame there. So I can make that a separate thing. And I can do my favorite trick, which is to zoom in on somebody a little bit just to give them some movement. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Yeah, NAMM-Quest. You are NAMM-Quest, I am NAMM-Quest. We are all NAMM-Quest. And from there's going to be loads of... Not that. But if I reveal that in project, I think Liam got a decent amount of footage of Sam tracking. Okay, this is going to become a lot less entertaining and is going to become quite tedious. And that's the extent of the mixing that I had to do. So I think at over 2 hours in, this is probably a good time to call it for tonight's stream. I have so much filming coming up. It's insane. If you're a patron to the channel, there is a video up already about... DI boxes, yeah, with Simple Way. There's another video going to be going up that's a vlog of my filming day last week, and there's another video that's going to be on the channel, and my brain is turning to mush. And so that one is, oh yeah, Sontronics microphones with their solo mic, which is one of my favourite handheld mics. And actually, if you see any of the stuff, that's the solo by Sontronics. So it's the Sontronics video that's up there, right? So there's a DI box video about Simple Way from Latvia coming up in a couple of days. There's a vlog which is going up as well. Yeah, I will change Jeremy's clip a little bit, but he's very much stylized that, so I don't want to undo it too much. Plus, that's what's called a baked-in grade. There's only so much you can do with a baked-in grade. I can make that warmer and, like you say, do that. But because it's a pre-rendered 8-bit video, there's only so much latitude that I have. So, I mean, it's not going to cut perfectly visually with the rest, but he is the guest performer on this. He's the only section, when I come to the edit, I will make it quite obvious that he wasn't doing this bit at NAMM. Jeremy was at NAMM, and I actually saw him, but we were so busy that we didn't get a chance to film his section on the day. Yeah, it's exactly like editing a JPEG or MP3, yeah. The only ways to get around it are to film really high quality intermediate footage formats, which is why my camera's at the studio film in ProRes, which is mental. But, you know, yeah, not a problem. So, yes, for now, that's where I'm going to call it tonight, because it's gone 10 o'clock and my brain has turned to mush, and I need to go and do stuff. But yeah, feel free to come to the Discord if you haven't already. We'll continue these conversations. And I'm going to start filming, I think, more vloggy content, because there's a lot happening at the moment. And I've now got some software called Luma Fusion, which is for iPad and iPhone as well, which is actually a really good video editing program. It's kind of a bit like Premiere. So, like, you can do properly stacked video and audio and cutaway clips and all that kind of stuff. And considering how powerful this phone is, I'm probably going to do all my vlog footage on my phone now, because iMovie's crap. But if this thing's any good, and I literally just did a whole like 12-13 minute vlog on it on my iPad, then yeah, you'll probably see more vlog footage from me, because the reason I haven't done many vlogs really is the editing time. The editing time is a lot, but that's because I have to be at an editing station. If I don't have to be at an editing station, yeah, I can do that in places where I wouldn't usually have done that. So anyway, I'm getting wildly off track, like I do. So thank you everybody for the support. It's massively appreciated. And yeah, head on to the Discord if you got any more questions. We're growing a little community, so it's not just me that's answering the questions now. It's becoming a real thing, and it's great. And I'm doing hand gestures to try and show that, because that's how that works. So yeah, thanks everybody, and I'll see you all very soon. Have fun, and good night. I'll probably see you Sunday-ish. See you then. Hey everyone, that might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server, link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Hot Pole Studios. See you there.